Hello everybody and welcome to your early look for today. Today we're taking a look at a game that you guys have many times requested that I do a series or a video on, and that is the Dead Linger. The Dead Linger I've been following on and off for a while now. I first heard of it at least 5 or 6 months ago, when it was maybe even longer than that at this point, when it was just a concept art and an idea. And quite simply, the easiest way to describe the Dead Linger is the first-person Project Zomboid. It is about surviving the zombie apocalypse with your wits and whatever you can find and lasting as long as you can. The idea behind it is great, right? The art that was shown was really good, but I didn't want to get too far behind it or follow it too closely until I actually had a copy in my hands, especially back when it was first announced, as it was full of lots of great promises, but nothing really to show for it. Well, now it's on Steam Early Access, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to be grabbing it, so for those of you who are unsure, I want to show you just what you're getting into. The word alpha has not applied to a game this hard in a long time. So that's saying something. So let's get into the Dead Linger. I'm going to load up a new world here in solo mode. Multiplayer does work, by the way. If you wanted to, you could jump into a server list and pick a server, but we're not going to worry about that. It's the same game with a little bit more bugs involved, in my opinion. So we're going to go ahead and hit solo mode, and I'm going to load up a world, and I'll see you on the other side. So, welcome to the Dead Linger, everybody. This is a brand new world that I loaded up, and every time you load a world, it is randomly generated. And I don't think I could have had a better start. This is personifying a lot of what's wrong, this early anyway, with the Dead Linger. Again, alpha is extra alpha for this game. There's a lot going on with this game that needs a lot of work, going from textures to loading to pop-ins to just things not working correctly. And as you can see, this is one of them. It seems we've loaded up in a generated city, and it is a city, there are cities and stuff. It seems that streetlights, we've loaded actually below. I'm not actually entirely sure what's happened here. We've loaded below a parking lot, I think, but so is a house. And I think what happened is that maybe it loaded a neighborhood biome. I think we're stuck, actually. I don't think there's anything I can do to get out of here. Are we out? Can I go around? Nope, there's an invisible wall going on here. I literally think we're stuck. Can I jump up and over it? Okay, we are good. Okay, excellent. So I'm not entirely sure what happened. I'm pretty sure this is a mall parking lot or an office building parking lot. And essentially what is known as a little suburban area, city area, both loaded on top of each other. So there's a lot going on with the Dead Linger that is very much a red lights flashing, don't get this game if you don't want a polished experience. Because, like I said, alpha is alpha, and this is the most alpha I've ever seen a game. As you play, the idea behind it, again, is simple, or unique, or fun, or whatever. It is survive the zombie apocalypse. You run to houses, you loot things, you get weapons, you deal with food and water. If you can take a look at your stats. You have oblivion portals. I have no idea what this is. Stamina, presumably, food, thirst, air, strength, and this one is like for infection. The more you get hit, the more prone you are to being infected. It's functional. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. I kind of like how it looks, though it is still obviously just very much concept arty. You can go into houses, though I've never run into a locked house before. So you can just kind of run into houses and, just loot them to your heart's content, and just grab whatever you can. You fight zombies by left-clicking and use whatever weapons equipped in your hand. Now, that's the basics. The question I guess you have to ask yourself is, does it work? And unfortunately, the answer I can say right now is not really. Again, it is alpha, and I'm going to say that over and over again. But, the stuff like this, you see this toaster popped in, that's not a big deal, right? Toaster pop in, no biggie. Yeah, but this happens, pop-ins just popping in like that, for trees, for buildings, for zombies, pretty much everything just pops in. And it can happen randomly. And another fun thing is throwing things, because they just go through walls. That's always exciting. We have a cleaver that just kind of stands on its hilt for whatever reason, and we have it now, so we're swinging with it, which is nice, it's useful. Let's do another test run here. Yep, goes right through. Another big issue I have with the game right now is the frame rate is sporadic as all get out, and I mean that. I have played the game, and I've gone from 40 to 50 frames a second down to 1 or 2, and I am not exaggerating. My Fraps number counter will tell me I'm at 1 frame a second. And what does that mean? Matt, this doesn't mean the game's not moving? Yeah, that's exactly what it means, that I am not moving. Nothing is happening on screen until the game is done loading or doing whatever it's doing. It just won't do it. So that needs a lot of work. One of the things, you've seen a pretty extreme example of it out there, was the way that biomes or areas in the game just load. And by that I mean they need some work on that. Things just load into one another pretty badly. Okay, no ammo in the gun, that's fine. That's totally fine. But that can't, you know, that's something that's going to be fixed. It can lead to you loading into the game and not being able to play. Imagine if I wasn't able to get untrapped there. That could have been a huge problem, but I was luckily able to get untrapped. We have a biohazard jacket that we could put on. That's going to give us some armor, presumably, though we have no stat for it, so I have no friggin' idea. Maybe it's just clothing. Maybe it's just how people see me. The animations of the game is still, you know, running pretty framey right now. I'm running at about 40 frames a second, but it definitely looks a lot, very stutter-y. Combat is rough. It is not exactly the smoothest thing in the world. I mean, I left-click and I swing, but it's not, I mean, this doesn't sound good, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't, I don't know if I'm connecting some of the time. Sometimes you have to wait for the zombie to just kind of twerk to know if you're hitting. And the distance that I can hit zombies is ridiculous, as you can see. He's just gonna moonwalk back. There we go. Come on. I mean, combat, there we go. You just kind of swing at him and hope that he just falls over eventually, and that's kind of how combat works. It's not satisfying even remotely, it's not smooth even remotely, it just doesn't feel good, and this is just, that's just typical. It's rough. Animations of the game are incredibly basic. They have some different ones, like the ability to, like, zombies crawling through windows is an animation to that. It works up until the point where they climb out of the window. They look like they're climbing through the window, and then once they're out, they're kind of like gliding through the air for a minute. It just needs work. It needs a lot of work. And I mean, the game has potential. That's something else to say. Is that there is potential here. There's definitely, the idea is nice, and you know, the potential for a really good first-person, you know, zombie survival is here, but it's gonna need work. And when I say work, I'm not talking about months of work. I'm talking maybe a year or more of work for this to be something that is worth recommending. Because right now, at a $20 price tag, you're buying into a promise more so than anything. This is kind of like a promo you would put up on a Kickstarter project. Like, this is an idea that we have, and this is the basic concept for it. Except this game has been playable for months now, and I don't know what the earlier builds were. I don't know how long it's actually been out. I think it's been more than months now. It's been close to a year that the game's been available. Did the parking lot load into this? Am I walking on parking lot lines? Or is this just no? You know, this game has been out for a long time, so I'm not sure what it was like before, but this is some of the most basic you can get for a game. Absolutely basic you can get for a game. And I've seen them add updates, like, we added a prison and stuff. Before you start adding prisons, and this is just me talking here, before you start adding stuff like prisons and malls and stuff, get the game functional first, because this is not functional. This is barely operative. This is, I mean, this right here, like, look, this is not functional. Combat is what I would call barely functional. Getting stuck under here, you know, spawning roads, I've seen it in videos where a road has spawned, but up a path you can't even go because it's so, like, 90-degree angle. That's not functional. Just animation is, you know, functional. Poppin' is not functional. You know, having things just pop. I don't even know what is this, and why can't I interact with it? Having, you know, stuff just popping up in front of you. Let's go into the forest to see if I can see some trees popping up in front. Floating zombies. Popping in zombies. Appearing zombies. Zombies just appear behind you. That's not functional. That is, you know, prototype. Like, it's not, you know, like, you see the zombies popping in? Nope, did you see that tree kind of grow from the side? Like, texture popping, fine. That doesn't bother me because it's alpha. But this is barely even an alpha state. This is something, I'll tell you that. It needs a lot of work. It does. It needs a whole bunch of work. For a game that's what I know has been out for a long time, it is definitely something that is in dire need of attention, of a lot of work. And before you keep adding different biomes and different buildings and all kinds of cool stuff, make it something that we can play, that we can, you know, even potentially help you in. And I, as someone who's played a million different alphas in his lifetime, this is definitely one of the worst I've played, and that's saying something. And I'm usually a positive guy when it comes to it, but this feels like, this kind of feels like a college project that I'd play at my college when I was going for game design. This feels like a very basic college senior project, at least for now. Maybe a little bit better, but I've seen some other stuff like Perception, which is really good, a really good college project game. Like, this is rough. This is really, really rough. Like, that power line is like leaning over there. It needs a lot of work. So if you're one of those people who weren't sure to buying into the early access, wait. Just wait, please. This is broken in so many ways. I don't even know what's here. It's barely a game at this point. There's nothing worth playing here. You can run around and loot some empty buildings. It's another thing. A lot of the buildings are empty. There's nothing in them. They're all the same. There's, you know where you're gonna find things if they have them. You're very much better off playing State of Decay is a really good example. And maybe, you know, a year and a half down the line, this is gonna blow your socks off, and I will be the first person to be jumping on this and telling you how great it is. Here we go, frame rate drop to 1 for some reason. Oh, come on, can you do it? Is the game gonna crash? Nope, it's just having issues. I mean, there are so many other good games out there that you could play for 20 bucks that I would suggest that you just don't touch this one yet. It's not worth your $20 yet. It's just not worth it. It's gonna maybe later on down the line, but it's just not worth it yet. Cool ideas, randomly generated world, if they can make it work, if they can fix it, cool. Maybe some details, some better, higher resolution or higher detailed world design, some stuff in the buildings, combat that feels gratifying and functional, non-floating things, not appearing things. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Frame rate that's stable. If that can all get smoothed out, if they can make a good, solid game before they start adding stuff, thumbs up. But as of right now, this is more of a proof of concept than anything, and it's a buggy one at that. So I am saying avoid it for now. Don't touch it. It's not worth your time. Not yet. That's pretty much all I can say. There's not a lot to show off. I can't even play this game for very long. There's not a whole bunch to show off. I've literally shown you pretty much everything. Like, watch the way he kind of glides to me. And the fact that I can hit him way back here with a cleaver is kind of ridiculous, don't you think? Like, weapons don't feel different. I have no idea what's happening right now. Why is he, like, twerking right now? But it's just one of those things that, you know, you just give time, because as of right now, it's not worth it. So we're going to stop here. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is your early look for the Dead Linger. And hit that like button if you enjoyed it, or at least found the video informative. Hit the subscribe button to join the horde. And as always, I'll see you all next time.